All right, with the exception of this item and these two items here, everything in this tray I got for 15 bucks, and it's mostly TIG torch stuff. There's a holder for Heliarc torch cups. There's only one in there, but it's a new one. And then here's some Tweeko MIG tips. Here's another thing of cups. This is alumina cups, number 6 gas lens. And then mainly what I wanted out of this, if it's good, I'm hoping it's a good one, is this flow meter. The thing's solid brass. It just seems really well built. So it's a Harris. I know that's a good brand name. But you know, right now I've got like a cheapo Chinese one on my MIG welder. So, you know, for the time being, I'll probably just run with that. But I'll keep this, and if it works, great. If it doesn't, then it's scrap brass. That's interesting. That's like, these are almost like replacement flow meter glasses. I don't know. But you can see this. There's a bunch more MIG tips. There's a random drill bit. Here's a torch, complete. Here's part of a torch and another torch. These are all TIG torches for those of you guys who don't know. And, you know, so whatever. 15 bucks seemed worth it to me. Get these 3 random drill bits out of here. I did get these from the same guy. That's why they were in that tray. But I actually found these in a different part of his setup there. And I bought these for $1. And the reason why I got these scissors for $1 was because they just kind of intrigued me because of the weird design that they have here. It's almost like the blade cutting edge is separate from the scissor body. It's 2 different metals there. And it's almost like these are riveted on. Over here it says inlaid stainless steel, and then there's a British patent number. And here they say they're radiant, and it says golden age rustless. So, kind of interesting. So on this side it says made for, it looks like almost like Richards, like Richars, Sheffield, England. I got this lighter. It's a, I actually don't know who makes the lighter, but the reason why I grabbed it was, you guys, any of you guys are NASCAR fans. This is a Dale Earnhardt lighter, 7-time Winston Cup champion. Unfortunately, it's not in the greatest of shape, but I thought it was kind of neat. Commemorative lighter for him. And then on the back there it says The Intimidator, which I believe was his nickname. I don't follow NASCAR. And then it lists all the years that he was champion. And then I think this is a butane. Yeah, it must be a butane lighter. So I got that for $2. So this piece I think was something I got from the guy who had those large parallels that I paid all the money for, and those new old stock laser center finders. And it's kind of hard to see it, but on this case, you get the light to hit it just right, you can just make out that it says last word. It says last word universal test indicator, the Ellis Starrett Company of Athol, Massachusetts. I've had a lot of last word indicators. I've got a ton right now, as a matter of fact. Never had this one. Look at this thing. Have you ever seen a last word indicator with a dial this big? It even has the same part number, the number 711. But this one says -D10. It's got the old fractional display to show the resolution. It is 1/10,000. So on the back, you turn it over, it actually looks just like a regular last word. The body's very similar. It's an earlier version, I think, because it's got this funky deal here for the indicator tip. Get a load of this. This doesn't have the same kind of nose on it. This has got to be something pretty darn early, right? Is that actually a patent number on here? So I overpaid for this, even though I only paid $15. And the reason why I say I overpaid for it at $15 is because it is completely frozen up. I have reason to believe that this got wet, which is a shame because I just think it, like I said, I think it's really cool, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to do anything with it. Sometimes you find really good deals on chemicals and stuff like that at these shows, and this is no exception right here. This is a large, a 1 gallon size of Gojo Natural Orange Pumice Hand Cleaner. This is the stuff that's got the scent of orange, and it has a gritty texture to it, and it's good for cleaning grease off your hands when you get really dirty. I got this for $3, and it's full up to about here. This thing's almost full. $3, couldn't pass that up. And when I was getting ready to leave, I came across this guy who had these Starrett tape measures, these new old stock Starrett tape measures. So these are the Starrett TX1-30 exact tape measures, and he had one up like this with a $10 price on it, and he was selling them for $10 a piece. And I got to thinking about it, and I said, geez, I said, a lot of my guys might be interested in these if I could buy them right. And I figured maybe if I bought them in bulk, the guy would be interested. And I said, how much would you take if I took all of them? And then he said, well, I have more. And he had in his van, he had more boxes he hadn't brought out. So I said, well, what do you have total? So he ended up bringing out 2 more boxes. We counted them all up. He had 16 total. There's 6 in a case. This was not a full case. He had already sold a couple. So there's 4 here, and then I got 2 more full cases for a total of 16 of these. And we settled on a price of $50 for the lot. So that's just a shade over $3 a piece. And I checked these. They're perfect. There's nothing wrong with them. They are just good, usable tape measures. They are Chinese Starrett, China, which is often the case with a lot of these everyday type tools that Starrett markets. So they're Starrett in name. Of course, Starrett was just now bought out by a one of these equity firms or something like that. So we'll see what ends up happening now. I think the plans might be that they're going to close down the Athol, Massachusetts location, which has been the Starrett headquarters like for a very, very long time. So it will be kind of sad to see that go away if that is the case. I don't know all the facts on that, so don't quote me. Let me just show you something else. I was just reminded of the fact that I actually still have some of these left, which similar situation. Guy had a bunch of them, new old stock, and I got a deal on them by buying the whole case. Again, these are also made in China, I believe. China. My mistake. These are made in Brazil. But anyways, moving on. So I don't know if you guys caught that when I opened this one up, but the blade says made in USA right on it. So I suspect what's going on here is that these ones that are made in Brazil are actually assembled with Starrett blades that were made here in the US. And whereas this Chinese one, the blade does not say made in the USA on it. It just says Nylong, Nylong, trademark, US patent. What Nylong is, I don't know, but this one claims that you can go out to 7 feet without it going limp on you. So kind of like the Fat Max, which was made by Black & Decker. If you've ever had one of those Fat Max tapes. The key on the Fat Max tapes, and similar to this one here, what helps is the fact that there's a concaveness to the shape of it. So if we looked at it straight on, you can actually see there's a curvature to it. That actually adds to the strength. I spotted this John Deere riding lawnmower tractor seat at a guy's spot, and ended up getting it for $10. So I was pretty happy with that. I've got an old John Deere 185 Hydro, and it's got a Kawasaki motor on it, which is a good motor. And mower deck needs a lot of work, but I know that the seat is trashed on that thing, so just by switching the seat out, it'll make it look a lot better. And I think this is a genuine John Deere seat because it even says John Deere right on it there. So, and then early on, I spotted a guy who had a bunch of this Pexto stuff, and kind of I guess I made a blunder by not buying it all. He had some of these units like this that were about like half the size of this, or they were only about that wide, with small wheels like this on it. And it turns out, I learned later, that those are they were probably all for different types of operations on sheet metal, and so they weren't all the same. And the idea behind these was they have like this almost standard base, and then what you would do is you would have one of these clamped to your workbench, and then you could just swap out the heads as you needed different operations. And it turns out even these bases right here are sought by many guys, because if they have multiple heads and only one base, they might want to be able to have more than one unit clamped to their bench at once, So anyways, I ended up getting this thing with that base for $45. He actually had one of the smaller units sitting on top of that, which should have been a clue to me about how these work kind of modular. But I noticed that the paint that's left on this matches the paint that's left on this. The other ones all were different looking, color-wise. So I was able to convince him to take this head and put it on that base, and got it for $45 for the two pieces, which turns out apparently is a really good deal for this. This screw to tighten it is not seized, and I can crank the handle and this rotates, so this is not seized. And the handle actually has a little bit of cracking to it, but it's not that bad. I mean, I've seen a lot of these where it just split right open and falling apart. So the smaller ones I probably could have gotten for even less money, and if I did a package where I did the whole thing, I probably could have got the lot for like $100. And I regretted after I left there and I did some research and figured out what these things were worth. Regretted not buying them. And then in a following show, I saw another guy who sells a lot of stuff, and his prices are usually higher. He had one of those units exactly like the one that I passed up, sitting on his tarp, and he had a price of $85 on it. And I asked him if he got that at the same place, and he ended up admitting to me that that is exactly who he got it from, and that he had bought all of them. So, oh well. So this is one of the first buys of the day. I ended up getting this Steel MS250 as is for $20. So it's missing a nut here. It's missing the air filter cover. Other than that, it actually seems pretty complete. It does have compression, but it's unusually hard to pull. It keeps locking up, which is, I don't know what's going on there, but might end up being a junk saw. But I figured for $20 I'd take a chance on it and keep it as a parts saw, because the carburetor and everything's present. So anyways, $20. And the last two items I ended up picking were this radio and an old suitcase with its contents, which I'll show you in a moment, for $50 for the two pieces. But this radio was part of that deal. I figured I wanted to be into this radio for about $15. So this is a Ward's 8-band receiver, an Airline, I guess is the model. And so this was from Montgomery Ward's, which was a, for those of you who don't know, was a catalog mail order company. You may have heard of Sears and Roebuck, which is probably one of the most famous catalog mail order companies that then ended up opening stores that, were like regular stores. But they started out by being a mail order catalog company, and Montgomery Ward's was similar to that. So they would have products made for them that they would put their name on, but they didn't actually manufacture anything. So there's no telling who made this. Some radio collecting aficionados might know. This is probably made in Japan. At least I hope it is, because for this era a lot of the best electronics came out of Japan. So this is a shortwave radio also. You know, AM FM band, but also has shortwave. And this right here is actually a, I believe this is a clock calculator. So if you wanted to know what time it was, you know, in Spain, you would use this thing in conjunction with this chart to recalculate our local time to, you know, Spain time. So I haven't tried this radio since I've gotten it. Bought it as is. It's plugged in now. Okay, I see we have a off something switch here. What is that? Oh, that's a squelch. All right, here's the on volume control. Oh yeah, nice and scratchy, but we got something. So we got a knob on the side here, which is the band switch.
Once existed in Massachusetts, they no longer have access to timely care, and this will require those in the community to travel further to simply access.
So this should be FM. So seems like it's a good working radio here. And before we move on, just give you a look at the back of this. The other thing you want to always look for on these radios is make sure that old batteries weren't stored in here. This looks like at some point it had batteries in it. It leaked a little bit, but it's not too bad. I've seen much worse. This is interesting. At first I thought somebody engraved their social security number here, because that's got the 323 number sequence like a social security number, but that first number is 544, and then there's this number in front of it with another dash. So it's P621-544-25-176. Whatever that number is, it was important to somebody because they engraved it here and they engraved it here. Oh, I almost missed it. It's a little hard to read, but it says Taiwan. Oh, one last thing about this radio. I believe this is a model GEN 1483A. And I think the GEN prefix means General Coverage Receiver. And on the back battery door right here, you can just see the ghost area right here and a little bit of residue of the adhesive. There used to be a label right here that would have had the model and the serial number on it that has unfortunately gone missing. So you're probably wondering, what's in this dirty old suitcase that I paid $50 for? Well, I mean, the radio was included with that, but this is really what I wanted. A TI-99 4A, a Texas Instruments home computer. Now, I'm not sure how much these go for in good working order on eBay, but I do know that as a parts machine alone, it's probably worth like $25. And this one has a lot going for it because it is more than just a computer. It's the computer. Also in this case is the original power supply, the cable that allows it to interface with the TV set. This has the 300 ohm twin lead connections on it, so I'm going to have to find somewhere around here. I should have an adapter. Oh, I just noticed that the little terminal foot there is broken off the end. Well, all right. No big deal there. But anyways, I've got to get the adapter to go to 75 ohms so I could use it on one of my more modern TV sets. And let's see what else we got here. Here is a cartridge for, well, it says Chisholm Trail. So I don't know if that's a game or what. And then there were even a couple of old books in here. Beginner's Basic. Boy, that takes me back. Basic was an old computer language that is now long gone. And User's Reference Guide. So that's basically just like a owner's manual for a complete detailed guide to using and enjoying your TI computer. So that's cool. Let's see if it works. All right, so right now, a certain amount of you people watching this video, if you were born after a certain year, probably have no idea what you're looking at. This is called static. So when I was growing up, we had analog TV channels. So I've got this Sony LCD TV on the floor of my office that I didn't even have hooked up, but it's one of the few things in here that actually will receive analog channels. Of course, it's not going to receive anything over the air because all analog channels are now permanently off the air. But the modulator, which is the box with the switch on it that's on the back of the TV right now, that comes with the TI, basically it takes the audio and the video out of the back of the TI and it ends up artificially generating, it's like a little TV station. It generates channel 3 and 4. You can select it with the switch. This one happens to be set at 4. And basically it transmits the audio and video coming out of the TI to channel 4 on this TV set. So I've got everything wired up, ready to go. Let's throw the power switch, which is right over here, and keep our fingers crossed. Wow. So power's up. It looks wrong. That video is something else. I don't know what's going on there. That is supposed to read, I'm pretty sure, Texas Instruments. And you can just kind of see the TI symbol is all screwed up there. And I don't know, but I'm thinking maybe all these color bars aren't supposed to be like that. I think I can just make out the word press. Maybe it's press any key. There we go. Yeah. Press 1 for basic, I think is what that says. There we go. And so now it has loaded the, I don't know, the technical mumbo jumbo. I'm going to just fake it until I make it. It's now loaded the compiler so that it, I think basically what it's done is it's gone into the mode where it can now accept simple commands in basic computer programming language, if that makes sense. So what I didn't notice until just now when I was taking it out of the box is there's a massive dent in the top here. I don't know if there's a yeah, so unfortunately it works and then it doesn't work, so to speak. Not sure exactly what's going on with it, that it's barely legible. I can see the, looks like an A prompt. And I think it's supposed to be, I think that's supposed to say basic ready. Alright, so just for the heck of it, I've now loaded this one game cartridge, this Chisholm Trail game cartridge that came with the unit. And let's see what happens. Okay, let's see, pressing the key. Oh, so now it's recognizing that I've installed the game cartridge, because now it has two choices. One for, again, to enter basic programming mode, or two for, I can't, cartridge read, maybe is what it says. Okay. Oh, you can just make out at the top there, it says Chisholm Trail. So this must be the intro screen. Let's see. Oh, okay. Select. I can't quite make out this. Let me just press 1. Huh. And I'm guessing that's the game. If the graphics output wasn't all scrambled and screwy. I also don't have a joystick to plug in to try this, so. Well, alright. So, looks like this is going to be have to sell this as is. Alright, so I guess we're going to call this video a wrap. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button. If you're not already a subscriber, please consider subscribing and consider sharing the video. Till next time, take care.